Okay, Barry Manaway,
Present.
Dan Osborne.
Present.
Wayne Bean, not here. Shoal is not here. I am here. Chester Good.
Here.
Andy Stratty's absent. John Miller.
Here.
Bob Cooper and Steve Korski is with us as well.
There we go.
Okay.
On the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On this is reorganization of the commission. I guess we start with the president. But don't nominate me because I really don't want it. I mean, I don't know what the thing is, but I know it pretty well sounds like I'm gonna get stuck with president of the BZA as well. And I don't know how I could handle president both. Conflict. And I really don't know if there'd be some questions asked. Or any decision he's made from either one, just because he's on this or just because he's on that. So, I mean, I don't know, just let me up or heads up on that. Could I entertain any motions for anybody but me? I'll be vice, but if you want to try and get Andy for president or Dan. that'd be-
No. Won't be going there with that.
I'm just gonna ask, is anybody else interested? Because be prepared when you nominate them. So
I think we're good for that. You should have showed up.
All right,
what happens, it's what happens.
all right,
I'll make a motion that we nominate Andy Stratty to serve as president.
I say, should I? He'll be down my house. Andrew,
President.
For Andrew.
Andrew's ready.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Yeah, he's nominated.
He's not here. That's what it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You opposed? So moved.
Do we know that he's staying on the commission?
Huh?
Do we know that he's
That
staying
would
on?
be a good question, Bobby.
I don't know that he is. Were you at the town?
That's a good question
interviews?
too. I think he's moving to BCA.
It was hard to tell from, I watched the meeting, but
Oh,
I
he,
think
think he's moved.
he wanted to switch to the BDA.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
so
right,
if he
that's a good
switched to
point.
BZA, he can't be on the planning commission.
Yeah, I'm.
He can. Why not?
Because we already got two,
That's right.
we can't have three.
So I'm certain he's going to BCA.
Huh?
I'm certain now that he's going to BCA.
If he's going to BZA, he's definitely not on the planning commission. Well, this is some information we need to have.
It was discussed at the town council meetings, but they didn't come up with a replacement for the plan commission, just BCA.
You should have, I mean, I went 3 to 4 months and everybody notified for BZA. Myself. Under. Can we continue the reorganization of the planning commission till February? Has it ever been done?
So
Who'd argue?
Huh?
Who would argue?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I believe in small towns, there's a little bit of leniency towards that. So
I don't know
the
what,
challenge of getting members that
I
are,
mean, because of the circumstances, because we don't have enough information to know who to nominate.
Our appointments as members continue unless we're replaced.
Right.
Is that
Right.
okay?
I mean, it says 3 months
Not sure.
although
All
until,
the officers will stay on until.
Yeah.
In which case I would draw my motion. Yeah, we just defer it. until February.
I mean, I would entertain a motion for that under the circumstances. I mean, as president, I recommend that. Well, you really messed things up, didn't you?
It didn't work out.
No, I mean, that's probably good information there, because I mean,
I didn't want to misspeak because It was hard to, I watched the meeting online. It was hard to tell who was speaking because it only shows the town council, not the audience.
Right. We had
But I
people
think-
online, but we don't have it.
I think Joel Stone's up and they're
Right.
replacing him and Andy was going to BZA.
I noticed your email went to Andy as far as the BGA was coming up and said he would be there, and I was telling my wife, I said, I don't understand why Andy was even,
I think what you need is probably a motion to table it to.
I think that's probably the proper way.
Did Joel not reapply?
I'm not sure.
Cause after the last meeting, he asked us, yeah,
Who's that?
I thought he was. Yeah.
Again, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I couldn't tell who was
Joel.
speaking.
Did he reapply?
Because
Green here?
Yeah.
the two spots that they're advertising have to be, there's two spots. They just sent it out in an email
Okay,
this week.
So two spots.
They have to be Democrat or
Or
independent.
Wayne.
He was an independent,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
Right, Joel is.
So
I think so.
we have two coming up then, two new members.
I think maybe for the sake of this meeting, just get your motion to
Okay.
table it.
Yeah, and I will, refrain my motion to, table reorganization until February.
I got the first,
Second.
second,
Okay.
any discussion? If not, all in favor to move this to a February meeting? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? So carried. Treating us on to civil word. All right, going to reorganization, we'll move on to approval of December 19th, 2023 minutes. You guys had a chance to look at those? And if so, and approved, make a motion? So moved. So moved to approve,
Second.
and a second from Mr. Osborne. Any discussion on that? None, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? I'll say aye. There you go.
I think Steve would be very helpful with those.
All right.
Try to sign off for the minutes.
I'm saying this is bad. And while I'm doing this, I guess we got the hearing. Case number 2023-P020-16323 Redwood Road. Petition to rezone property from F1 to A1. And we can open public hearing, but it's good on one time. So motion to open public hearing.
Move we open the public hearing on case 2023-020.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. All right, so if you would like to, again, petition to the board, what you want to do.
All I want to do, I'm Wayne Neidlinger, 1632-3 Redwoods Road, Culver, Indiana. My farm used to be an A1. And back in 2013, somehow it got switched to S1. And I don't like the idea of being an S1 when I'm farming. So I want it back in A1.
And I understand you've got more farm.
Yeah, I got farm behind me.
That
It's
is,
A1.
The papers you have will show you what's the zoning is around.
Who switched it here?
I'm assuming when,
2013.
I was thinking in 2013, because I know that's when, well, I thought we didn't have an A1 at the time. But you might have been A1 out there before.
Yeah.
Even the zoning. For
What?
that time.
Why would it be brought up that he would be, it would even be changed?
Well, because it's what I was saying, I know at one time we didn't have an agricultural zone.
Well, to start with,
But,
my farm's been in hay for many years.
yeah,
And I think somebody either looked at it the aerial or drove by and said, oh, that should be F1 instead of agriculture.
well, I think what happened is when we went through and was zoning for agricultural, and a lot of the A1 was changed to agricultural because we then had an agricultural zone, an A1. And I'm assuming that yours got caught up in the switch from A1 to S1.
Maybe.
I'm sure at one time, out there where you're at, I know that zoning line was throughout change. You remember, Kevin, when we made all the changes trying to get around whatever.
It was right up, that sign was right on our property.
Right, it used to be on the
Next
south line,
Yeah.
and now it's on north of me.
And over that, I think that's where the change had developed.
But what really bothered me is they changed it here, but yet I had to come in and spend $200 to get it changed back to A1.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with that either, but it would have been called at the time. I know you say hindsight's 2020, but I mean, I agree that it should be back to A1. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, Steve, in your position, I don't think you could present to the council part. I mean, I think council do this, but
Actually, by ordinance, I can represent a person for the zoning change.
yeah, because I mean, we can, you know, either recommend or not recommend this to town council, but
Yeah,
under the building commissioners, I think accepted authority or whatever they want to call it there, you know, he can represent to why it's being done. And it may not be a charge, may not. I can't say would or would not,
I can't see any reason why not.
but I can't see any reason why not. And I think if it's presented to the council as such, I think we could hopefully help you on that part. But anyway, moving forward for this. If anybody else has any questions as far as
What's that? Anybody on?
anybody online,
So be used for farm grown, just like.
Yeah.
But it currently is.
yeah. I mean, he came to TRC meeting for this too, and there were no changes, no anything else, and TRC actually accepted this to be, you know, acceptable without any other things.
Putting a
In
hog
protocol,
farm.
go ahead, don't think there's anything to do it. We have to do it.
So I haven't heard anything from anybody online. I don't know if anybody in the,
We got Kevin as our citizen input later, but
I think you're right, Barry. I think it was always S1 before. It's just that switch over that happened, but I have no objection to that. That's fine.
Wayne, can I just get your address one more time?
1632-3 Redwood Road.
So, Mr. President, do we just, at this point, we're all kind of, do we need a motion?
we got to close the public hearing. first.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry.
Public hearing before we can vote. We can't vote during public hearing. So at this time, if no other discussion, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll entertain it and make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Got a second. So if no other discussion, have a vote. If you accept, approve, then by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Did we get a first and second on it?
Yeah, we did. We got it. And
Let's do it tonight.
Oh, was that to approve or
To
to
close,
close?
to close the public.
Got that. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm keeping up.
Yeah.
Yes.
everybody said aye?
Yep.
Okay. And then, if not, same sign, don't agree. It wouldn't, but protocol. All right, so at this time, if you have any other discussion, claim whatever, or not, now's the time, otherwise I'll entertain a motion to approve the case 2023 PO 20 to rezone from S1 to A1.
Make a motion to approve case 2023-PO20
And that is including the recommendation to the town council,
for a favorable recommendation to
or
approve.
recommend not to,
Yeah, and not to charge.
not to charge $200 fee, whatever it is.
just, oh, that's already paid. We have to take the $200 fee. We have to take the fee for this to cover the cost of what we've done,
Regardless-
advertising and everything else. Yeah,
Regardless,
yeah.
even though we paid for it, to change it before. Yeah, I mean,
It's been 10 years.
Huh?
Been 10 years.
yeah, no. All right,
Second that motion.
got a motion second, no other discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So, still think letter, I guess, at the same time. Kind of.
I'll have to write an ordinance if it's a zoning change. And then we'll do a legal notice for the town council also.
I mean, it has to be, it won't be legal until town council approves.
That's correct, but I have to write an ordinance for them to approve.
Okay,
It has to be done by ordinance.
So moving forward. TRC review and the building commissioner report, we can do that all in one.
So I don't have a report per se that I wanted to have ready for you today, but you have some information to share with everybody. A couple different things. First of all, everyone was asking, what's Plan Commission's involvement going to be regarding the dunes? Here's a flow chart where you can see that not only will it go through the TRC, but the site development plan will also have to come through the Plan Commission. Thought this would be helpful for you.
This is all site plan? Any site plan?
Site development plans, yes. So that was just some kind of for your information. And I also have these. I don't want to put them all out at once because I don't want everybody having a pile of papers to go through. The next thing I wanted to discuss here and this is for discussion. At this time, we'll have to do a public hearing for the next meeting if everybody's in agreement. But one makes a have some changes I recommend making to our zoning ordinances. And that's what I just put in front of you. And I'll go through these for you. It won't take long. I know it's a lot of print, but it's not as bad as it looks. So if we look at the first page is Article 7. And a lot of this is cleaning up our ordinances. But under Article 7, Section 030, application materials. So when people were applying, it used to say all applications may be obtained from the office of the Culver Plan Commission. That's not how we work that. So the correct language on this now is all applications are electronic and may be obtained from the office of the county plan director. Now, if we go down to underneath 030A3 paragraph, it's the same thing. All petitions and permit applications shall be assigned, referenced, and or docket numbers by, it used to say the building commissioner, which would have been me, when in fact it needs to be changed to the county plan director. And all those go through, they have the software for all the permit applications. And then as we go from Article 7 to Section 050, written commitments. If we look at underneath A and then go to paragraph C, recording of commitments following final action will be taken on the site development plan application. The written commitments shall be recorded by the petitioner in the office of, it used to say Town of Culver. We don't have a recorder, so correct verbiage here is by the petition in the office of the Marshall County Recorder. And we're going to see a few of those examples of that same thing in here. We go to Article 8. Under Section 050, non-conforming structures. This is something that's different.
Yeah, pay attention. Please.
This is going to be different. So if we look at the third paragraph, it says under 050, should such non-conforming structure, non-conforming portion of a structure be destroyed by any means, it may be rebuilt on the existing foundation lines, providing the height of the replacement structure may not exceed the height of the structure that was destroyed unless a variance is approved by the BZA. I propose we change the language that should such non-conforming structure, non-conforming portion of a structure be destroyed by an act of God, vandalism, fire, or unintentionally, it may be rebuilt on the existing foundation lines.
Why do we want to make that change? This is an issue we debated it in length a few years ago.
So if we go next, I think the next sentence will help, and then I think that'll be a good.
I stopped at the GRC meeting and I asked questions about this.
So in the next, underneath that paragraph, a new paragraph says, should such non-conforming structure, non-conforming portion of a structure be voluntarily raised or destroyed by any means, it shall not be rebuilt as non-conforming. Subsequent new construction shall thereafter conform to the regulations for the district. In other words, when somebody tears a house down, they don't automatically get to rebuild it on foundation, same foundation lines anymore. They're gonna have to, if they want to have a non-conforming structure, they'll need to go to the BZA. Currently, the practice is you can tear a non-conforming structure down and rebuild another non-conforming structure on the same foundation lines. I'm proposing we stop that so we can start going to the BZA and not automatically go from non-conforming to non-conforming structures. This has come up quite a bit. Came up before I got here. So I'm interested to hear what everyone thinks of that.
I'm just gonna, for reference, because I know what, Don was, when I look at, if you look at the rest of that third paragraph, it talks about the height of going one higher, whatever it would require BZA. Because we didn't eliminate that, so I mean, that was part of the state of thing. I'm assuming that's part of what you said, you already looking at a lot of that,
Yeah, I'm go ahead.
but that's the only thing I want to bring up, so. You can continue.
Okay,
For a question, we put that's because we have lots, particularly some smaller lots, that BZA then could essentially say, well, sucks to be you, but you can't rebuild your house. In other words, I think about some lots on the West Shore that think about some cases that came before us and was like, well, we wait for the house to fall into the lake. What's a homeowner can do? And I think that's where we kind of landed, is if we build on the same footprint, whether it's destroyed in a fire or struck by lightning, or we just tear it down because it's 75 years old and falling apart.
Right, at one time or another, we did take it away by any means. I mean, we had that any means, because it wasn't just an act of God, so to speak. But I know we've had issues to where by building on the same foundation on the lake especially, but people have built the house even more non-conforming because of it built on the same structure, and they still added to it, which only required one variance by doing that. But it wouldn't eliminate them belonging to the BZA as far as, you know, it's non-conforming on a non-conforming structure.
And
This is not being addressed right here because we're talking about non-conforming structure on the lot. It doesn't say non-conforming or conforming lot. It's just right here that you're talking about non-conforming structure being built back on. And I know there is a difference, you know.
And that's correct, and therein lies the purpose of the BZA grant variances.
And honestly,
And if the BZA doesn't, because the BZA just said, we don't like houses on Lake Kidmont.
well, that's when lawyers come in and
Is that fair to the property owners? Do they have to stay in the house until it falls down?
ones that have got it right now,
Well, they're allowed to renovate.
they're
They can still renovate the home.
To what extent though, what we consider it to be raised?
Yeah. So what if you leave tear it down to the studs and basically do the same thing as rebuilding it? If you're building a new house, I mean, do you remember it used to be, well, I'll keep one wall,
they're gonna,
and it's still a remodel?
So this says if the structure or any part, if you take it down to the studs, the main part of the structure is still there. Have to start taking rooms off. I think that's completely different.
like if you you remodel in corner, you have to take out the studs because of weather damage or whatever, but you do it yourself. Now, you're taking the studs off a corner, it's already only 7 feet from the property line. You got the rest of the wall up there, but you're in the corner because of one room. I mean, we're gonna get into technicalities, we're saying, all right, you can't put that room back because it'd be non-conforming again. But when it's in line with walls, that are already non-conforming.
I guess my question is, like, why is this broken? And we need to fix it.
It's come up a lot in the short time I've been here, and then when people do rebuild, in several cases, they've already gone to the BZA to, build on the same footprint, but build taller, for instance. So they still have to go to the BZA for that. There's some houses that new construction in, some that have been tore down and rebuilt. Where I've been running into problems with people thinking that when they pour their concrete porch steps, that's not part of their setbacks, when in fact that is, that's.
Yeah, that or
Seen that
wetland,
too, yeah. It's twin houses on West Shore.
right?
In fact, I've had one homeowner had to take their stairs out. I've got to go back over and re-inspect and replace those because they didn't meet the setback. I've got some other structures going up where I'm telling people the same exact thing.
Didn't that come in front of the TRC when they're coming in to get, you know, before it's coming?
If it's on L1, yes.
The answer is yes, but
But if it's on-
people sometimes take liberties.
Oh, yeah, they do all the time.
Uh-huh.
But if it's R1, R2, all that, they're not required to come to TRC.
What's specific, was building on the same foundation is great, but
L1 in commercial and PUDs right now.
as long as it's cleared through the BCA, if this would make those. It's different.
More of a burden on the BZA.
Well,
I don't like,
I don't think it's gonna be more of a burden. But it's just gonna be more, looked at, to be accepted before it's accepted, other than just one thing. If they want to add on to that, they got their whole structure where it's at, they want to add on, they only get the one variance. If it's already non-conforming, they come back and have to do this, they have to get a variance for the 4 sides, 3 sides, 2 sides, whatever, and the height. So, you know. I mean, I agree with this. I understand that the confinement that we might have. But I know, I mean, you got the grandfather, the holes and stuff like that to come in some of these places that I don't know how it's gonna affect.
I don't like that it allows for structures to be rebuilt after various unintentional means, accidents, fires, things like that, everything except intentional. I feel like that kind of invites the temptation for accidents, fires,
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
I think better of people, but it happens.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
fire.
If my house burns down, I can rebuild it, but I
Yeah,
can't
but
tear it
still-
down.
With by fire unintentionally. Each time unintentional, but
And I guess to your point, what's the difference?
That is kind of my point.
The house isn't there anymore. What's the difference? How can they? You know, the.
You're right. I agree. Yeah, what's the difference?
I mean, is that what you're saying?
Right, I mean,
What's the
say,
difference of
say I've got
document
a
and-
tree that's rotten and needs to come down. But I want to replace my house, but I can't. Well, let's just wait for the tree to blow over. We're creating an unsafe condition. I mean, that stuff happens, you know? We forget to turn on the furnace when it's -6 and the pipes freeze and now my house is accidentally destroyed. Accidentally, or catches on fire, or whatever.
I would still see, I would see that as an act of God if the truck is busted.
Well, that's what I mean.
And I
like-
mean, who's gonna? Only thing that's gonna be questioned on that is, like, yeah, if you go out there and pour gas over top of it, burn it down, you say, well, it's intentional, otherwise be unintentional. And it's been done, but they got a cost too. But, right, but I mean, if you can do it, get away with it, then that don't apply. I mean, I guess,
I mean, I just feel like that kind of invites that sort of temptation.
all right,
Because I thought, how come it says destroyed by any means now?
No, we took out any.
it is by any means now,
But
but
this,
the change is to take that out.
Yes.
okay.
If it can be rebuilt under any circumstances, just let people voluntarily rebuild something.
And this, I mean, this is a suggestion what we want to do, and it's why it's presented here right now, if you don't agree with it. If the majority, your quorum does not agree with this change, then it goes back to drawing board.
So this is just for L1.
Oh, this is not just for, this is actually for,
This is good. This is going to be applicable to all construction and also.
So all the plots in Culver that are not conforming, people are not gonna be able to tear it down and build a non-conforming structure on the same footprint. I don't like.
So this first section is design 050 as a non-conforming structure on a, can't be a conforming or non-conforming lot. And the section 080 is pretty much the same thing, except it's also non-conforming use of the land.
is this just a representation right now for the planning commission or
This is just for discussion.
just for discussion?
We'll
I just want to go through proper procedures here because I mean, if this needs to be talked about or whatever, I mean, I want to know that before you, suggestions to the building. commissioner.
Before we even could start going down the road of actually making a change, we have to do a legal notice.
And we'd have to
Have
have.
to have a public
notice, and
hearing
that way
on
we can either vote it out and rechange it, whatever, but you need to present something that you might want to rewrite and it's part of what.
If we want to leave it as is, that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what you want.
I mean, today it's gonna be left as is anyway, but yeah.
What are you gonna do about these dilapidated homes that really need to come down? You're gonna say you can't rebuild one? I mean, that's basically what you're saying. Then you're gonna have,
But that's gonna be the argument because if it gets some part of it dilapidated, they're gonna come in and make the tear it down anyway.
You could also
I'm
have-
curious where that comes up as far as rebuilding.
You can also have a conforming lot with a house built right on the property line that's non-conforming, tear it down and then rebuild another.
right,
I
the number of conforming lots in town are
Right.
minimal.
Well, my lot,
That's minority.
technically a non-conforming lot by reason of width only. But my house is a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot. Which I know this doesn't discuss the non-conforming lot part or whatever, because it's just a building recommendation, whatever. But if I tear mine down and I can build it back on the same structure, I can put it back without the setback from the front row. But if I have to come back and make it conforming, because my lot would be, my structure would be conforming if I back it up 5 feet. So
So I'm
If
here,
you
maybe,
my lot as an example, what I'm saying. I can't move under the ordinance the way they are right now. My house is a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot. If I want to back it up to make it conforming, I'd have to get a variance
Right.
to make it conforming. But I can build it back on the same lot without a variance and put it back non-conforming. Now, if we've got an ordinance that's gonna make me stay non-conforming instead of an ordinance that we can allow it to be conforming without a variance, I mean, why would I want to have to go pay $125 to make it conforming? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just one instance. Now, it's not an argument for or against.
Right, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's just, and we've got several in our non-conforming districts. I'm gonna call it that. We've got places where all the lots in that area are non-conforming. Yeah.
Forest Place.
Forest Place, you got both the south end
Yeah.
and,
I mean, it's all like that.
what I'm hearing is that, let's not change this section for now.
is that the suggestion? I
I'm
mean,
not in favor of making that change.
There's a lot of support for it.
It doesn't sound like it.
it doesn't sound like everybody.
Okay, so for Article 8,
We got Kevin,
I don't know you're taking public input or not, but
well, it can be.
to me, there should be something about the percentages or something about how much it's non-conforming. Because you literally have some lots where the house is on the property line or partially across the property line. I really think those ought to be reviewed by the BZA.
Right.
If it's something that's only, choose your number, 50% non-conforming and they're gonna build back in the same location, that's probably not a big deal. But if it's 80% or more non-conforming, do you want to maybe take a look at that and see if it's a fire hazard, if it's the overhangs are actually over the line, are there other things going on? So there's variations in non-conforming, if it's 1 inch, oh, big deal. But if it's
Yeah.
right over there, because you literally have some houses that are across the line right now.
Right now,
And if you say it's okay to build back on the foundation,
you're wrong.
you've kind of
It's
stuck that
actually
in
not,
there.
it's
So,
actually not even legal.
well, but it's.
But
we-
it's there right now.
We got to
I mean,
complete the
correct
ordinance
that,
at that point.
but you can't correct it without legally
You
correct it.
But
Yeah.
nobody wants it.
No.
So.
But under this right here, I mean,
And I don't know
I
how
don't
that
think it's
is.
a great point. But I don't think percentage necessarily work. I think the BZA have set their own standard on that.
And
That
then
they could act consistent.
right, but the idea that you're saying, I agree.
the percentage idea would give the building commissioner the discretion. He could still send it on or not, but what the idea is to try and get them all from coming to the BZA. I get that. But to not have anything reviewed by the BZA, I don't know if that's a good option
It's
either.
definitely not a good option.
I struggle with how much we document the demolition because, I'm gonna build it back on the same footprint.
Yeah.
Well, did you set
Right.
stakes? Did you define where that was? And
I don't think you should be able to build a non-conforming structure on a conforming lot, though. To go back in the same footprint. If it's a
Oh,
conforming lot, you should have to
but that's.
go back to.
go back.
But
to
that's what
conform.
it says.
to
That's
conform.
what this says.
Yeah, and
What?
That's what.
That's what that says.
I mean, that's just like my house, where my house.
But if it's, what about a non-conforming lot? That's what,
But the way it's written right now, it says that even on a conforming lot, if there's room to do it, but because the
Yeah.
footprint's over here, you can put it right back there where it
This
was.
is the same, this is the same footprint we're talking about, regardless whether it's non-conforming
Right.
lot or conforming lot. We're talking about non-conforming structure only.
I thought you were talking about a non-conforming lot.
No, I
Oh,
just used my house as an example because it's a non-conforming lot and a non-conforming structure. This does not specify which one, so I wanted to give you the idea of either one because it's gonna come up. Well,
If they can make a non-conforming structure on a conforming lot, then that's really what it should
I'm
be.
allowed to right now. I'm allowed to put a non-conforming
Structure
back
on,
on a non-conforming lot,
but how about a conforming lot? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right, if it's conforming lot, then you shouldn't
Right.
you shouldn't be able to build
Right.
on a
But
non-conforming
but
structure.
that's
on the
one of the
previous,
things we
for the
talked
previous.
about.
That's what
Percentages,
it-
you know,
The language, I was confused about. the
my
language
house
here.
is only
Right, you-
non-conforming because it's 4 inches, 4 feet short of being wide enough to be conforming.
Bobby, what do you think about that now? That change your opinion a little bit?
I tell you what,
I said,
I'll
let's not
give me a
change
chance to
it.
rewrite this,
Let's not
so,
change it
so it's clear.
for now. We won't take this
Okay.
change.
Okay.
It's been a few years ago, Dan, but there were a couple on the lake where they wanted a yard. And the way it was built, they were like 3 or 4 feet off of one property line and they got the yard on this side. BZA said, no, if you're gonna rebuild it, you have to slide it over here. But the footprint thing wouldn't make them do that. They'd say, go back on the same footprint and push it over to the neighbors.
I mean, I see both sides of it, but I mean, the writing.
So, Steve, what do you want to, do you want to kind of go back and maybe rewrite this a little bit so it's a little bit more explainable?
Yes,
Except.
I'm good with it. Yeah,
yeah, and I can bring it back.
okay, that's
We're not,
fine.
we're not in a hurry to get these,
No,
but
this is,
these are things that I've caught and that,
Okay.
this is the only one that I think has this kind of discussion worthy on this.
Okay.
Good news for the
Okay.
rest of these.
this right here, I knew, I mean, I brought it up, 3 people here, 3 RC meeting, and I went over this as well.
So I'll take another stab at it and bring it back.
Okay, that'd be great.
Then we'll just jump to Article 9, which is for the Board of Zoning Appeals. And in this case, section 020, section 030, section 040, and section 050 all have the same change, where they all say have such commitments recorded, and it used to say in the Culver Recorder's Office. I really like to change that to what it actually is, since Culver doesn't have a recorder's office, to the Marshall County Recorder's Office.
Saying that's just a simplification, but that has to be.
Yeah, clean the language up. And then on Article 10, administration, powers and duties of the Plan Commission. So here's an interesting
Yeah.
fact for everyone. If you go to Indiana Code 36-7-4-405, the section states that the duty of the Plan Commission, unless we change it, is the Plan Commission should be setting house numbers and naming street.
Can I change mine?
Really?
That's in there.
That's in Indiana, that's in the state codes. But we are allowed by state code to build within our ordinance to change that. So what I propose is what's actually happening right now.
On Osborne Lane.
No, I want McMahon way.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at the flower.
I propose we change it to clerk treasurer is responsible for assigning street numbers to lots and structures and renumbering lots and structures. And the town council shall name or rename streets. And then the rest is right up pretty much on the state code is streets shall be named or renamed so that their names are easy to understand to avoid duplication or conflict with other names. The Plan Commission may by rule prescribe a numbering system for lots and structures. The assigning of all addresses should be coordinated with emergency 911 Marshall County. So what this says, if you really wanted to make it, and this is right out of state code, if you wanted to make a numbering system up, well, there already is one in place. So our clerk treasurer is assigning house numbers and has been for some time. And my understanding is town council's been naming the streets.
The numbers I look at, how many people voted to let this go to first off, not us.
I think that's just how it ended up being.
Yeah, I know. We want to make sure we at least have a.
So if everyone's okay with that, I'll put this change in the group too. And then there's one more having to do with filing applications. So
Kevin Berger's got some.
I just want to know if you would consider reviewing the numbers the clerk treasurer comes up with. Because she has no planning background. She has no idea what you guys are doing. She just throws the number out there. Thus, at the paddocks, she gave me a number of 511, just randomly 511 for Culver Sandhill Farms.
Right here.
So now the units on the paddocks are 505, I think, A, B, C, D, G, because there weren't enough numbers left for that. Well, that was the plan, that it was going to be multifamily out there. She doesn't understand that. She doesn't know how to figure those things out. So I argued with her. She said, no, it's on the grid. It should be 511. It doesn't make sense. You guys have a better concept of what you want to see for development and what might be happening in those areas. It's fine to let her choose numbers, but a review on some of this would be worthwhile.
So this change here would, and it does say the Plan Commission may by rule prescribe the numbering system.
You want to say it should review?
I would think you guys want to review them.
You think that we should review?
I think you guys should review them because you know more about what might be potentially happening than the clerk treasurer does.
As far as more development after that, to where you might have a wrong number that's going to be way too low before you get to that.
There you go.
Where it lies,
I mean,
once
we
again,
did go
that
out
this
to-
Plan Commission with this gives us, it's already in the state code, but this would put it in our ordinances that the Plan Commission itself can prescribe that numbering system.
And Karen can do it 9 times out of 10, but a review, none of those things are happening that quickly that it couldn't come up at your next meeting and say, is this okay? Okay. And it goes on. Or wait a minute, we've had a discussion, even you, Steve, you may know something's going to happen on that in-between lot, that there might be a subdivision, there might be something else happening. Somebody else should look at it other than just the clerk treasurer.
So it's the idea that, let's go back to the paddocks example, that if that were the ordinance, and you could kind of say, plan commission, this is problematic, and let me explain to you why,
Yes.
and go back and reassign some different numbers. Okay.
Would it be something, I mean, like, you experience that all the time?
I'm just using that as a real world example.
Right. I'm trying to get back to the real world. I'm trying to see if, when you went and you wasn't sure that was right either by her, would you be saying that you would be willing to come, or should we have a developer themselves that would see that to come in as well, and under review? I mean, the reason I'm saying that is because I'm looking at, all right, we already know a lot of trailer, but we don't know other than the address that's on. Most times it's just the address that they give you when you walk in here, but you know, once you're gonna assign.
Barry, I can only speak to the projects that I know of. You know, another example is Garden Court on South Main Street. They just randomly stuck a number on there with no thought about what might be going on either side of it or what's happening to make that happen.
19 acres, whatever it is.
But- Does Karen actually sit down and look and say that the surrounding area is zoned R2? That means the lot sizes could be this big. That means you might have lots all facing the street that would take this much. Maybe we ought to think about those numbers. So that's where I think the plan commission, who had at that time rezoned it at R2, would have a better idea of doing that. Now, the dunes makes that a moot point, but it's an example of where something gets developed in the middle of a stretch of road that Karen's just winging it. She just, here's the number.
Right,
There we
you
go.
could have, at one time, I mean, I know they're talking about the whole development, right, there, the whole area, man.
Right.
But if you're saying there've been 5 or 6 different contractors come in with property and built separate units all the way up.
It could have been subdivided with all of them facing the road, and then we might have had a street problem, you know, a numbering problem.
Cause you could have had, access streets would make a difference.
And you guys you can't know everything, but I feel like you guys know more than the court treasurer does in this type of thing. So, and 9 times out of 10, you're probably gonna just rubber stamp what she says. But
It wouldn't, I don't think it hurts to have a review.
No, I think it's right. I mean, I appreciate that because that does open my eyes a little bit to what, but I'm just afraid a lot of times that things like that come in here and just be rubber stamped as well.
And it may be.
And it would change anything, right? Right. But would be worse by then now. Yeah, under review, I think.
She's doing the best she can. She just doesn't have as much knowledge as you guys do.
All right. Everybody agree with that? To get Steve as far as to,
They're talking postal numbers.
yeah, changing it just to
And they talk to.
instead of just going to the clerk responsibility, to go to a review from the clerk something. Is that what you're talking
Postmaster pushes it back to the clerk.
Okay.
about? Okay.
That's why I wasn't sure.
That's what's happening right now.
Because usually there's some kind of rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the process, what we're talking about here.
It's generally based on blocks.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's not the best thing. Like on Fabler Drive, it's a curve. You could have picked anything. It doesn't have to go with the blocks. But when you leave a lot like that, that is planned for multifamily, that would have made sense to do something different.
Yeah.
Down to Garden Court, it's R2 all the way around it. Those could all face the street, same type of thing.
But you still got the same thing all the way out in zoning. I just hear that. Right? Not necessarily a street, but you still got addresses.
Only in town limits,
So we're only talking about within,
anything outside town limits, the county's assigned the address.
okay, no matter whether it's in zoning or not. Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify.
And usually the town manager is involved too, so there's some of that, but I think another example at Sandhill Farm, when we did the subdivision there, randomly Jonathan said, that's 540 West Jesperson. That's not even in order, but that's the number they gave it and that's what they ran with. And it's like, that's not, you gotta have a better rationale than that.
So what I'm
You got to have
understanding,
a readable pattern, I guess. Go ahead.
what I'm understanding is that instead of changing the existing wording to match the process that happens, it's better that we change the process to match the existing wording, right? And that we would then review and assign postal numbers.
Have to ask him. The same wording other than other than the referring or the reviewing, but referring or
Reviewing the clerks.
I mean, she can do it, but it sounds like it needs to be part of this meeting. It could be as part of his.
And I made a note on here, planning commission to review new addresses.
okay.
Is there another
Nothing.
technical word for new addresses?
No.
Was that word?
I
I didn't know. I mean, maybe.
I think Bobby, I think is asking for a little bit more wording as far as how the process is. be done. I don't know.
Well, that's not changing any wording. That's just leaving that as is. And then instead of Karen being the sole deciding factor, Karen makes a suggestion and we say yes or no.
Right. I like that.
Just here to clarify.
I'm sure she won't have a problem with that.
Okay. Got that.
It was just something I think she just continued doing at the time.
This time,
She would probably love to just give it to you.
I would love to just keep it over there. Yeah.
You need some more things to do, Barry. You need some more decisions to make, don't you?
Yeah, that's a decision I want to make.
Carefully, you're gonna say, what do you think, mister?
I can say a whole lot more.
I think Barry could be president of the planning commission, yeah. Personally,
We need to look.
I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem.
Fair problem for you.
In perpetuity, yeah.
And perfect.
What do you think about that, Kevin? Do you think that would be, a reasonable acceptance as far as the public?
I don't know why it makes any difference. You're still a voting member. You don't have that much control over what's being done, whether you're president or not. So I don't see,
I mean, I'm only one vote.
Thank you, Kevin.
there's no,
That's
I
all,
don't
that's
see.
all we needed to hear.
With that, so.
So I'll move on to Article 11.
Thank you.
And then in section, and this is gonna be very familiar, in section 010, petition and permit application types. And both paragraphs 1 and 3, it just clarifies that all applications are gonna be made electronically and they're not provided by me. Which I haven't done, it hasn't been done for some time. It's all through the county system. They'll be provide electronic forms and they'll be provided by the Marshall County Plan Director. And that's both 1 and 3 says the same thing. 3 doesn't say electronic, but it does say the docket numbers are going to be issued by the Marshall County Plan Director. And then Article 11, 020 is just a typo, changing the word of following to the correct spelling. And then if we go under 020 variance petitions, I'm sorry, 050 zoning map amendment petitions, and then it's H, and then line number 4, property values. Actually, this should be on the next line there. The conservation of property values throughout Culver's zoning district, and replace Marshall County out of there. Currently, it says property values throughout Marshall County, when in fact we're talking about Culver, so Culver zoning districts. Does that change?
That's just correct.
It is, and then also in Article 11060, improvement location permits. Again, it changes from building commissioner to Marshall County Plan Director. And then 070, certificate of occupancy. Upon the completion of the work approved through an improvement location permit, the permit holder shall contact the county building inspector and Culver Utilities Manager and schedule an inspection. Right now, it says building commissioner, which is me, which isn't happening. We're paying the county to do the inspections on the construction. So, and Bob Porter wants some input on that too with utilities before it starts up to make sure people have made the correct connections.
And your signature as well.
And it does have the Culver Building Commissioner and other municipal people may also take parts in the inspections.
Right, but I mean, as far as with the C of O, and we discussed that before, But right now, the Marshall County Building Inspector can issue a C of O without notifying the building commissioner or Florida.
I'm automatically notified.
Right,
I mean, I get an email that tells me it was issued.
but then it's gonna be that they notify you, so then you're gonna notify Bob.
This is saying that before it gets issued, that Bob will be involved.
I would like to have it in black and white that you would be involved as well. I mean, seriously, I mean, I know because of past problems that we've had. And I know Kevin sitting right there knows what a past problem has happened. due to
Okay.
that. So,
I can do that.
yes, no, I
That's easy enough.
appreciate that. Not just one man speaking here, but I mean, from experience that has happened prior to,
Steve will need to address that with the county.
but still have to be addressed with them.
Yeah, I'll talk to I'll talk to Ty, but most of the folks, talk to the new county building inspector. Need to spend some time with him, as he gets settled in. And then under 070, certificate insurance, the county building inspector shall issue the certificate of occupancy if the improvements comply with all applicable requirements of, and I took out Culver, for Marshall County and put in Culver again. Correcting that. And then also for section 080 for sign permits, it still needs to go through the Marshall County Plan Director for application. Not me.
Why is that necessary? I mean, is it just because we don't have anything online actually to apply for a fence permit? I mean, I know it used to be everything was here in town as far as the smaller thing.
Because we have to, since we're essentially giving the county, we don't pay them per se, but they get the money from our permits. And all the different processes that system uses,
Right, because of the system.
and it's electronic, so we don't have any, I have no paperwork to give anybody on it.
Right, but I know at one time we were trying to separate a whole lot of our responsibilities that the town can take because we're paying for like the Marshall County that we shouldn't have to.
But then we need to develop our own system,
Right,
which is
that's why I said,
money.
is it because we don't have the system?
It would be very expensive to put a system in place.
I mean, this is the result of it, of not having a system, I'm saying that side to side, because the fence permit or anything like that has to go through Marshall County now because we don't have.
Culver does not have enough going through that would warrant paying the price for a whole new software programming system. And we don't actually pay, we're not given a check to the county for using that. They're taking their money off the top for the permit application. That's how they get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just called that.
For the applications, that's also inspection fees and all the other things they're doing with that also. Then Article 12, enforcement penalties. Clarified this also, if we go down to under 040, we go to line 3, payment. Payment of any violation shall be by cash or cashier's check and shall be delivered to the clerk treasurer's office for deposit in the general fund. It used to say building commissioner. And then it also used to say forward to the county auditor. So I'm cleaning that up. I shouldn't be taking money. That's clerk's job there. If I were to be up there full time and starting to take money and that by ordinance in this, there's a possibility they may have to bond me. So this cleans it up. They're the ones that handle the money. People can go there to pay. And then finally, and the last part is responsibility for cost. In the very end of that paragraph, it says cost of enforcing, including attorney's fees, hours work, photocopying, charges, mileage, and other costs incurred directly or indirectly by Culver will get rid of by the county. Those are the easy ones.
Yeah, those are actually getting back to where it's in writing, they're showing that there can be fines. Appreciate that. First time for that.
No, just another typo, whenever cleaning things up.
Okay.
Struckers.
That could be me.
Structures.
Which article is in?
Article 8080
Thank you.
in the heading.
Make sure I want to circle that thing.
Oh,
Oh, that's all. That's all I have
No.
for you this evening.
That part on that you're reading part, cost of everything up and whatever. Was that anything to do with fines?
Yes.
So now, I mean, actually, it would, is it already in writing as far as the fines and all that stuff, or just the changes we made to it?
Yes. No. This is under, yeah, enforcement and penalties in
Right.
Article 12.
Yeah.
So
The monetary fines may be imposed at the discretion of the building commissioner with notice of fines for violation.
Are you meaning like a structure, like how much?
Whatever the problem comes up, whether the fence is not conforming, whatever, they put it up for whatever reason they wanted to, but he would have, he's got the authority, which is already in writing, I'm assuming, that he could go up and telling people they need to make that conforming if you don't do it within 30 days or whatever he desires. You can set a time on it, and it could be double fine if they don't do it now.
we'll double fines, there's nothing in our ordinance. Our fines would be $200 a day for every day out of compliance.
Okay, that's what I was curious of, is if there was.
Yeah, I would use an example, let you know part of what this is actually.
And then there's discretion, for instance, if somebody starts building something and they didn't have their permit complete.
Such as recently happened.
It can happen, they can be fined, and the fine in that case would be triple for building permit fees.
I know there was some discussion, you, and I think at the time, it's Jim Bessemer, the discussion of, we were talking about fines, and she was talking, how would it be done, didn't know if we could get them. I think even Jeanette Cerisi was in there, like, how.
So if something's coming down to fines, I will absolutely be in touch with our legal counsel.
We discussed it pretty extensively when it was the fence issue.
Right, and it got into it, I mean, there was really wasn't like right. Yes, we could at the time, but, yeah. But I know there's a discussion, and I just want to make sure I saw it here, because I looked for it before. Anybody have any questions for building commissioner? I think it's. Unless you have anything else as far as further. Any further development, anything that's gonna be coming up?
Been very slow.
Naturally, what is there is going slow. And everybody pretty.
Oh, the bond issue with the dunes, most of that stuff's worked out now. I would expect some kind of more formal plans to start going up. I don't know what time frame, but that'll be the next step.
Just right.
The site development plan for the chart.
Our role, yeah,
Overall.
approving general site plans.
The question came up when the plan commission would, at our last meeting, when the plan commission would see any information regarding the dunes.
Right.
Oh, this right here. Because the application is placed on agenda for TRC. Let's review meeting. After TRC. Who's reviewing that?
That's what TRC,
Let's say it's placed on agenda for the TRC and it's a review, it's not needed. For the TRC.
was placed on the agenda, and then you have the meeting.
Okay. Then after that, it goes to. Talks about 7-030 B for criteria. Approve modifications, approval. Now forward the commission. I was just trying to see what all it goes before it's forward to the planning commission.
So what kind of time frame are we talking about here? Do you have any idea?
No, I don't.
But even approved modifications, anything else that can be done by TRC or done by,
What step are you on? Because it's the steps are.
well, I mean, part of the review meeting, like placed on agenda for TRC, I mean.
So you put it, so it says first it's gotta be put on the agenda. And then you have a review meeting, TRC is gonna review it.
What would
And then from there,
plan, so
it'll flow down. And we'll either end up going to, it'll either be tabled, approved with modifications. Approval, improvement location permit from that step. Or denial forward to planning commission. But if TRC says, no, they don't like it, let's go to the planning commission. But these are the steps.
yeah, I mean, I was just looking here where it says approved, after you approve modifications, and it's got approved. If it's approved, it shows it's going to improvement location permit. But then the other goes all the way through, it goes from denial or forward to the planning commission. I don't know where this can go from the approval straight to the improvement location permit.
So it'll go definitely by ordinance, it'll come to the planning commission.
Yeah, under this guide here, you're going, it's going from approval before it ever gets to the planning commission, going to the improvement location permit.
This is nothing new. This is what's
I know.
existing. Everything.
I know, and that's where I'm bringing it up.
So in this case, it's gonna depend on the type of project too.
Well, I mean, I'll be the first one to say, you know, if the project's this size,
Every new structure that is gonna have to have a permit, right?
Yeah.
So in some cases, an L1 will say, and if it's in the Lake District and they meet all their setbacks, and everything's okay, it still comes, because it's L1, it still has to come to TRC. But then the TRC approves it and it's gonna go straight on to building permits.
right? But right now, we've got our TRC that planning commission had authorized the TRC and set up to review commercial, L1 and PUDs. But I mean, this would open up for everything.
We'll have to still
Every
reference,
site plan.
we still go back to reference our
Or when
ordinance.
you go back to separate, I mean, I don't want to get into the same thing where you're reading one and reading the other one different.
No, it will absolutely cover the TRC and the project will absolutely come. Planning commission.
Okay, so everything that goes through the TRC would come to the planning commission before it ever gets from. Is what you're saying?
I'm not sure I understood what you said.
Everything as far as any site development process, any application would go to the TRC and has a review for the TRC. But even through all this, it would actually come, anything would come before the planning commission before it goes to the permanent location. Of course, we're not talking about,
No, you have to get into the ordinances more.
okay. So this is just if and if, whatever. Okay.
This is also a subdivision, but it's got to come to you for the subdivision too.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have it on, here, but it would be natural.
And we do have
So
stuff,
actually,
we have a subdivision ordinance also.
But this would be a major subdivision, which has. to come
major
before the
subdivision,
planning
we haven't had any.
So we don't really know what's gonna come in front of us at this point.
You can look online, but you still don't know because
I've heard different things, so
Okay,
it's possible they want to replat this
it's definitely gonna have to be replatted, I think.
and or change some of the zoning. Possibly,
is there not gonna be a PUD or?
no,
Okay.
That's,
it's good, I'm sure it's gonna stay R2, but I'm sure they've talked about changing how it's platted for the different areas.
And they're going to dedicate the streets, which automatically subdivides everything with the streets that live through there, so.
and everything's gonna have to meet setbacks unless there's some kind of variance that could be given
They're coming
to a
to.
major
So
site.
here's the deal when it comes to setbacks too. that's part of the discussion, the plan commission and TRC and plan commission are gonna have to have, because if they've got 4 lots out there, and if they build 50 homes on one lot, on one parcel, it's only the outside line of that parcel that needs to meet the,
Is that under the
Setback.
lines of a major subdivision?
yes. It's in all.
So step back. Won't matter.
Our ordinances don't say if you're building an R2, you can only put one structure on a parcel. It doesn't say that.
We've got that, don't we, Kevin? We've got, you cannot have one primary structure.
It only says that on,
But we changed
I think
it
in the Lake
to
District.
R2 to allow, to try and get more dense development, so it's probably not in there.
But it's over two.
This is all R2.
It's on over two. Well, we didn't see this coming there.
I'm gonna say it's a bad thing, because the plan commission will still have a voice, and if they say they want 8-foot setbacks,
But that's what's proposed right now.
it is. I mean, plan commission, you'll have an option to push back on that if you so choose. I don't know why you would, but if you so choose, you'd have that option.
Get that out. But actually, I mean, the reality now, it doesn't matter. It would only be a recommendation as well. So it would still be council denying or accepting our recommendation. So, I mean, it
And we know how that's gone before.
can't be reported, I guess.
It's been
I think they're required to send it back to you.
They are, but they're not required to accept either way.
No.
It has came back other than I object.
So you'll get some pressure to approve it as is.
But we have to see what it even looks like first.
Exactly. And I'm being open-minded at this point. All right. Moving forward, old business or new business? I got anything you want to bring up for the old business, new business?
Steve, when are we gonna have a meeting of the solar committee?
I've been sending out regular information, and like I said before, there's a lot going on in the county right now. Really hot topic. I'm waiting to see. They just had the first reading this morning in the county council for their proposed solar ordinance revisions. I think they want some different, they may want to make some other changes to that yet.
Some of their language.
We use that as a general
Yeah.
I think
ordinance.
as a general
Well,
guideline
there
for
and start Looking at it to see what we addition or modifications we'd want to make to that
correct.
for this area.
Yeah, that was purpose of waiting.
You know, so they're not ready to, they haven't come up with a final, yeah.
No, but they did have their first reading on the,
We may not have to wait on their final. You know, we just-
It's been a year now since we got a moratorium.
no. It hasn't been here. It's been like five months. It was summer. Been like 5 months.
Because like I said, I know, I mean, basically have to leave it up to whatever can be brought, but if, Marshall County has enough, I guess, information, whatever research they came up with. If
I really don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. I
but
think
we
if
don't.
they have a good,
But
something that's compliant with state code to start with, which has to be the foundation. If there's something they write that's compliant with state code and has some good ideas in it, we can build from that. I'm not saying that's what we would do exactly.
But we could be more restrictive.
Section by section and.
Don't forget that.
Yeah,
See what.
yeah.
Well, it can't be less restrictive, but we can't be more restrictive.
Exactly.
And we may want to be more restrictive than Marshall County.
but
So I don't want to just write a check and.
we absolutely can. The state has defined setbacks, but they did, in the state code, it does say you can't like ban it. Make it impossible.
Yeah.
But you can heavily restrict it. And restrictions can be not just setbacks, but also you can say if you're setback, right now, the county's for the setback in their ordinance is 325 feet, as example. With 325-foot setback, you can say, we want 3 rows of evergreens, whatever type, and we want them staggered this far apart, and then this far between the rows. And specifically, if any of them die, it has to be replaced in X amount of time.
And we can actually go,
And I've read ordinances that say all that.
we can actually go more than 325.
Yes.
The 325 is not set in stone, it's because of Morris County. We want, figure it might be 400. We could be
We
more.
don't wanna have just 1 month to work on this thing, you know, it's gonna take some time.
Exactly. I mean, and you don't. Once you start, you know,
Once we get, again, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make sure we have a meeting. If everybody's okay with it, I'll set something up in February for us to get together and talk about it.
So with the county then, are the ones that are already existing are just gonna be grandfathered in? Like Freeman, that school just south of Dairy Queen, stuff like that?
So that, yes, because they're compliant with the current ordinance.
Mhm.
So they can take it out, they can only
they make a new ordinance.
make heavier restrictions moving forward.
Things here, you know,
No, I didn't know cells started dying and stuff like that. In order to put new,
on new.
yeah, it'd be more.
Which,
That would probably be written in the ordinance.
which is something to consider putting in the ordinance.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good point. Once it's already in, you can't retroactively go back and do anything, but
You can
certainly moving forward.
after the fact, though, yes. You can get an ordinance, and if you see it where it needs amended, you can't amend it, so. So there's an option as well, you know, you're not just accepting everything else. Up until the time you change it, everything else is very set, stuff.
We want to make sure we do it right. What the county's going through right now is most challenging. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if county doesn't experience lawsuits.
Oh, God, yes.
I personally expect it.
Oh, God, yes.
I expect it.
I kind of expected it even when it comes here. I hope I'm to be a little more optimistic than that, but new things aren't always taken to life too easily. Anybody else have anything, new business, old business?
So you got, everybody knows that town council has shifted the day they meet now, right?
No,
They have now moved their meetings to Thursdays, yeah.
that really doesn't change a whole lot, but
It doesn't, but that's why I wasn't sure.
as long as they're the first and second,
Yeah,
or not the first and second, fourth, second. See, they want me to figure out numbers.
Good, we'd had a discussion last year, East Shore Lane, private drive over there. I think there was gonna be some follow-up. Cause I think the whole signage, yeah.
So here's the answer to that.
Yeah.
I've been to the courthouse. In 1932, that was dedicated as a private street for lots 1 through 14. Since then, additional lots have been done, but it's recorded as private drive. It has been since 1932.
Since they've added those lots, was Edwards Lane back there, was already originally there?
I didn't look for that.
Because, I mean,
Still county
They-
road.
which I know they kind of blocked off the private lane going any further than that anyway now. Once they wait for that, probably wouldn't make any difference.
So what you're saying is they can have that signage there as being a private drive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's not, it belongs to those people who own the property.
Why would GIS indicate that as county property versus a county street road?
There you go. Right. Yeah.
It needs to be
I
designated.
know it's not
Oh.
the system, but
I can't answer why GIS does that, but I can tell you what's in the county report.
Does the sign conform to our sign?
I'm assuming they have an organization.
They actually do.
I'm,
Their signs do.
I'm assuming they as a group have an organization based on Texas.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. I spoke with them. They're highly protective of that.
Well, did they?
Yeah, they have it filed. we don't cover it, because I don't think county does either.
Okay. I got a couple of things.
Okay.
So I think that I misinterpreted our rules on setbacks. This goes to 303 North Shore. My understanding, if I'm wrong, I've been wrong for a number of years, is that if you got a structure that doesn't meet any one of the setbacks, and to expand that to structure in any direction requires a variance. Am I wrong about that?
No, if it didn't meet any setbacks on any four sides,
Right.
then you could not build it any bigger
Okay.
without a
Then
variance.
then my question is, why does 303 not have a variance?
The front yard meets the setbacks,
But the side yard does not.
but they didn't, when they built,
This goes to, I think, the difference of yeah.
so what's between your house and them is
It's
too
the same.
close.
Right.
It's the same thing.
So when they couldn't continue building on, so they put that addition over far enough. So it's still within the side yard setback.
So but this goes to, I think, apparently my misunderstanding then, which was if you got a non-conforming structure, you just can't add to it without a variance.
Right.
And this is a non-conforming structure.
Well,
You can't make it more, cannot make it more non-conforming.
That's, I guess, the
You
clarification.
can't add to the non-conformance.
without a variance.
And since that too, Kevin Dante and I have met with representatives from CMA. And we're working on improving communications for new projects.
I mean, you brought that up. I mean, what was with the easement, whatever they were talking about in the front? That now didn't know that, didn't mean, man, it didn't need a
So
variance.
I gave an easement to have the private drive through there. They still own the land, but it's not going through.
So the property line actually runs down the middle of the street.
Okay, and that's
There's no
what they were
question
talking
about
about.
meeting the front yard setbacks. Okay. So it's just you can't make it
You can't add.
more
more
non-conforming in the direction that it's non-conforming.
Correct.
It's an interesting point going back to Kevin's notion about, well, what if it wasn't 7 feet from my property line? What if it was across my property line?
Then it would have been an issue, but before you could have contested.
Well, but there wouldn't have been any vehicle to do that because they need a variance. I mean, I'm happy with structure,
Right,
not that. I'm
right.
just like,
But I mean,
I think
people
I've
think that
misconstrued.
they don't have the right to appeal a decision that they make to anybody else. You have a right to appeal at the BJA.
You didn't go to the BZA.
It didn't go
Huh?
to CA. That's the thing. There was no
Right.
variance required.
Not that need variance, there's nothing to appeal.
Okay. Well, you can appeal your decision, whatever.
Okay.
That's been done.
Well, whether you read my decision, once it was all within the required setbacks, the permits is going to be issued.
Yeah, there's no.
I mean, if you can't appeal, I mean, you're saying the orders should have confined only to the court that can be questioned. You think it's done?
Well, I mean, Steve did what was,
Yeah, I know. I'm
Lawful
not saying you
building
wasn't
permit,
right.
so-
I'm just saying,
what's it responsible?
I mean, you're talking over the property line. I mean, it would.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, how far would you?
Yeah.
Therein lies a gray area where most likely we could go to legal avenues on that. They're also, I was also in touch with Culver, just so y'all know, 1406 Academy Drive, I think it's near the end,
Mhm.
because they want to do something with that structure there also.
My other question is, going back to signs, what does our ordinance say about temporary signs? I've asked you this offline, but
Temporary signs.
like the chicken signs that have been in front of Osborne's since summer, for example.
So I haven't moved one, I've asked them to move their flags, so I'll go remind them that the two flags that are out there, they're banner type flags.
So I am correct, we can only.
They can't have them in the right of way.
Right.
They
But
can
then nor
put
can
them by
can they be up, like permanently though?
No, and they're probably too big for square square feet without it.
Okay.
So
As far as anything other kind of temporary signs is contractors, things like that, they
Right.
put signs in your yard
And
and they're supposed to be out.
things like we have
I have to look it up. It's like
farmer's market.
48 hours and
Over there, it's,
How's that?
yeah, culvert repair, yeah.
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 So there's ordinances on sizes.
Right.
Sizes.
What about,
What signs-
what about political
signs
signs?
are not temporary.
You know,
But political signs are more regulated by the state.
Yeah, political is, we can't.
They still can't put them in the right of way. You can't can't put any signs in the right of way.
But we don't have the right to take that
Yes, in the right of way we do,
in our right of way, but
in town.
not just, yeah, in town. And that's why I say our, because you go out here on 17, 10, whatever. Those signs come, I mean, they're in the, on this side, supposedly we can take them down, but on the other side, we're not supposed to be taking them down. I don't understand that, but
We don't have any authority outside of town limits to do anything with the sign.
well. We do too.
That comes directly
Yeah.
from Jim Cleveland.
Okay. That-
Piggybacking on that, that's just kind of maybe more of a concern than anything, but, Cafe Max's outdoor dining, it's. Yeah.
So another thing I've looked
That's
into,
another thing that needs to be addressed.
it has been addressed, and the town council has a contract with them. And that was all approved and set up,
A new contract,
you know, it's got contracts been in place for.
a new
10
contract
years.
was a temporary contract.
No, it wasn't. They've had a contract.
That's what was, that's when the notice, we.
I've got a copy of it, because I had to look at it.
The planning commission was misled.
I thought that was something done temporarily during COVID,
The
the
contract-
COVID
The
restriction.
only temporary part on that is it has to be removed by like November 1st and can't be replaced until like.
They're hired.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was there before.
And it was.
The contract's probably 10 years old that I read.
And the reason they ever looked at it-
88.
Huh?
You can't get a wheelchair around that.
Exactly, ADA.
There's no way it could-
Violates the ADA.
It makes 48 inches, so it's 36 inch for the ADA stuff.
How much does it leave?
It's from that to the curb is 48 inches.
That you could run a chair.
I measured it.
You're talking at that sidewalk.
It wouldn't
Where?
surprise
You're talking
me if he
about
moved it
the
because it
door
was
or-
barely enough space for me to walk on it one. Okay. I ain't 36 inches. That I know.
That's because it's been up a number of times.
Yeah. It seriously wasn't, like it was in the 2 foot range.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
I had to go.
It doesn't mean
myself.
ADA.
But honestly, that was supposed to be.
So they got 48 inches there.
That was.
But
Maybe
if
she changed, maybe she
the
changed
and the
it.
other stuff, it doesn't mean.
If she puts it back up,
But you guys have been through this before. It is on town property. So you don't have any say if the town says it's okay. And that's what it's on town property. The sidewalk's a town property. So you kind of got short circuited on that. As you have on the overhanging signs and the banners and stuff, they have to go to the town council and get those things approved.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done.
And ultimately town council anyway, whether we do or what we don't do.
But
Yeah.
you can't say it's okay and you can't say it's not.
Well, we can say it's not,
Well,
but
but
it doesn't do it good.
But it
What you're
doesn't
saying.
matter.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. They would have wanted it here.
But once again, the town has contract with that particular thing, so.
Yeah.
What's it just,
And I
never mind.
I asked for that before. I never saw the contract. Nobody ever can come up with a contract. This is the first I've heard of.
Well, we're on.
Does it have an end?
Okay, wait a minute. We've got another one. huh?
Go ahead.
Just look here too.
That can't be legally binding with us.
Would you all like a copy of that contract?
I would like
Yeah.
to, I would like to know where the,
In
the
perpetuity,
state
not
ever,
be.
ever approved.
yeah, they can't do it forever.
No.
That's what she's trying to sell.
I was told it was,
Yeah, yeah.
They
I
don't
was
want
told it
to
was
associate anymore.
temporary by the building commissioner that
They don't want her to come in anymore.
the town council did it as a temporary and we're gonna review it at a further date, see how. Evidently, they did a contract where it wouldn't have to be reviewed at a further.
There you go.
So while we're on South Main Street, I raised this one before, but I don't recall what the answer was. The displays out there next to Heritage Park, near Elizabeth's Garden, is there a similar contract that allows those?
No.
And what are we doing about those?
The floor. The floor.
Oh,
And do we have
So-
48-inch clearance there?
Yeah.
So Elizabeth Garden. Those would fall under our obstruction and nuisance, it's under nuisance ordinance as a sidewalk obstruction. So if you so choose. If you so choose, I could send a letter, to start with on that.
Send a copy of the contract with, Cafe Back, so she can.
Yeah.
That same.
Yeah, that otherwise you're discriminating. There's precedent.
any more old business, new business? Let's go by the old business, can't do anything about it. Yeah, sure you don't be for president. Be fired for voting in.
Promise is promise. Promise is promise.
Nothing else? Yeah, citizen input. Having everything to bring up other than what we've already discussed.
Two things real quick. You guys are not responsible for what Wayne's issue is. It's what John was talking about. And when they decided the GIS couldn't figure out when a line ran between parcels, it got divided and by parcel, so that we went in and out at that point. If there was a parcel that had more of town than before, then it went to the town and it went to S1 because you didn't have an A1. So it's nothing that you guys did wrong or anything. The county basically made that determination because of the GIS. Number two, Don and I have been serving on the Comprehensive Plan Committee. I think you guys need to push on that a little bit because I'm not sure why it hasn't moved forward. We're done with our meetings and stuff. But you guys be a little careful when you start talking about solar and some of the other things. One of our recommendations is we should extend our extraterritorial boundary. That means we should be as close to the county's ordinance as possible, just so that we don't have pitchforks and torches in here complaining when we try and make that change.
So it's not necessarily our.
And to address that, I know Steve and I have been talking about this. We talked about it a week ago, Steve, about how we need to get this addressed as far as that 2 mile distance established for our zoning. Because I know right now, we haven't got probably maybe 70% of what we're actually entitled to.
But one of the things you did when we established an A1, that was part of the reason for doing an A1 and making the A1 match the county's A1.
Right.
But if we start going in and taking different things and saying, no, we're more restrictive here, and we're more restrictive here, they're not gonna want to come in and they'll fight it and the county won't let you take it. And we won't get that extension. And I think that extension is a good thing. So
But it needs to be done before all this.
We don't automatically get it.
we don't automatically get it.
No. But we have reasonable argument that we should get it.
You have reasonable arguments to get it, but everything you do that's more restrictive out there gives them more ammunition to say no.
Right.
So
People will fight.
consider those things real hard when you are trying to make our A1 more restrictive than their A1.
Could you already have, and we had the problem before, because they didn't want to be taxed by Kohler, they'd rather be taxed by.
And the taxing doesn't have anything to do with it.
and
They don't
doesn't really
understand
make any
that.
difference, but that's the reason they were coming in.
But the argument, one of the arguments that came in was Marlene, and she comes in and says, you're gonna restrict all of the windmills, and I can't have a windmill on my farm. I'm gonna fight this to the death. Well, that's the type of thing. Do we
Right.
want to do those restrictions in ag, where it's already ag? But we could control if it changes from ag, and that's what I think we want to do. That's why we want to take it in. So if there's a major change like that, we have a say in it. But if it's ag and stays ag, we should let it be what the county's ag is and run with it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But that does need to be addressed too.
But it needs to come from the comp plan, and the comp plan needs to be finished for you guys to be able to address it. Because it needs to be a recommendation in the comp plan, which currently, I believe it is by committee, that's what was decided, but I haven't seen the final document yet.
I know we've got to make sure it's in there, what you're saying. Should.
Yep.
I say should.
But Steve's comment about, and I don't necessarily disagree, and I don't want to have an anything in this battle, but if you go back and say that county says 350 feet and we want 500 and we want a bigger buffer than the county does, and we start saying all those things, the farmers going into the county say, don't give culvert control because this is what they're going to do to us. And we got to be real careful about that. And so because we won't have any control if we do that. It'll stay with the county. We have no control.
That's another reason why it's nice to see what happens with the county ordinance.
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I am
it's
fully in favor of that, but I
mean,
wanted
think there's-
wanted to express that the comp plan is looking at this expansion and how you deal with things like that affects that ability to for us to have any control. Because right now we don't. If we
Right,
expand, we have some.
but you're saying as far as the comp plan should be looking at that as well.
Comp plan is looking at that.
Okay.
And as far as I know, I have not seen the final document. The last discussions were that was part of the recommendations in the comp plan. And that's your basis for going to the county and saying, we have done a comp plan study. Citizens say we ought to do this. This is where we're going with it, and make that argument. But the argument back at it will be, what's your zoning look like? What's the farmland that's out there now that you're trying to take in? What happens with it? And my big thing for taking it in is right now, the 2 mile zone could go out to the railroad tracks at Burr Oak.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And there's potential for development all the way along there, particularly with the new sewer districts. That area's got huge power out there with that transformer station. There could be big development there that would come this way.
Yeah.
Do we want some say in that or not? Right now, we don't. We don't have it.
I mean, I know, as far as comprehensive plan being looked at, because we're looking at what can be developed. I mean, what land could be
Yep.
developed at a future date that would benefit Culver. And, I mean, right now, we're restricted to the west. No doubt. I mean, we don't even have 2 miles out.
No, we don't have 2 miles in any direction except to the southeast.
Well, southeast,
And that's only because of the lake.
but we've got to the south. Is it only 2 miles away?
Because of the lake.
Right.
There is a part of that says you can take a little bit more because of the lake. That's the only place that we go 2 miles. Every place else, we are restricted smaller than that. So I'm just for future thought, just when you're thinking about making changes to ag, we might want to be real careful about that. We should be mirroring what the county does if we want to make this happen in the future. Otherwise, Wayne's got no reason to change it. If he's not doing anything, it doesn't matter. He can do everything in S1 that he can do in A1.
Yeah.
But he's got that perception that he's got more freedom with A1. Well, not really, but
I can't have more freedom with this.
yes, his land's probably more valuable as S1.
Yeah.
I just making that quick. It's something to keep in mind as we move forward. And Barry and I are the only ones that remember what happened with that 2 mile in and out before. Everybody else is new.
I mean, that was more than just saying, yeah, we'll go
It was a big fight.
agreeing between the county as far as saying we go 2 mile or we go 1.75 miles. Everyone had nothing like that. It's
That's
like,
why our boundary is so jagged. It
you
follows
look at that
property
map,
lines now.
that'll be the next thing after it is done with that, our comp plan. Because that'll have to be a new map. Have to go through the process. But you can look at that map right now and you look how jagged everything is all the way around it. And if you want to go by scale, you'll find very few 2 mile spots.
Yeah.
But it's not 100% up to the county either. Right? We still underneath the state, whatever it is,
No,
just only county.
we have to request it from the county. And we are limited a little bit farther on that. We truly have to get permission from them because La Paz and, I'm not sure about Argus. I know La Paz has ceded their zoning to the county. And once a municipality has done that, then the county can look at things as area zoning as opposed to local zoning.
Right.
So that's part of their argument for not giving expansions to municipalities. And that is state statute that did that.
But it's gonna be a process.
Yeah.
You have anything else, Kevin?
Nope.
Commission members' concerns and input.
Nope.
Any regrets? 2023.
I didn't hit the lottery.
I
That's
don't
my
want.
only regret.
So we had a discussion at the beginning on what they're doing with the seats. Do you know your spots? Oh,
Yeah.
And you
Um,
reapplied?
I reapplied, I went to the town council meeting, the meeting beforehand, and, I thought I was on a neutral seat, so it's not party affiliation, but apparently I don't know how it breaks down exactly because it's an odd numbered board, even though they want to have relatively even amounts.
So it's gotta be an odd number, because then you could always have a majority.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Huh?
It doesn't have to be. We have other communities in the county that have even number boards.
Even number boards.
That's,
But see, I thought I was a neutral seat, so, they're asking for more people, more Ds to basically sign up and then put their hat in the ring, so I thought it was neutral, so I don't know.
I don't even know if that would even matter. You were already in there in that position.
Mhm.
And you would want to stay on.
Yeah.
And I went through this once. And everybody knew that I was staying on, so I just stayed on.
I think it's just for representation, they wanted to open it up because it happens usually in January and a lot of people are on vacation or holidays, worn out, and so I think they're just opening it back up to get as many applicants as possible.
As long as his seat hadn't been filled, is he still authorized to keep his seat
Yes,
until it's replaced? Okay.
so in February and they're,
I just want to say that out loud.
Yeah.
I fit under the same position before, so
They changed that a couple of years ago, Barry, because they wanted the option that somebody just didn't continue automatically when they weren't showing up or doing any, weren't participating. And so it gave them more of an option to take somebody off if they needed to. So every time your seat comes open, you have to apply and they have the choice of whether to put you back on again or not.
so I hope to be here next month.
couldn't vote any president.
No, we can be here first.
Right,
Motion to adjourn.
yeah, if there wasn't anything else. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Motion to.
We got a motion on
Yeah,
the
I'll go.
floor.
Second.
Seconds,
Got a vote.
all in favor?
Aye. Well, I got some of that IU Purdue game.
Yeah.
I might catch 5 minutes of it.
It ain't gonna be much.